Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal, and welcome back to another weight loss video. Let's dive right in. Furious about the current food industry? This is a bit of a rant. So, I'm a second-year dietetic student, and I've been doing some personal research on why insulin sensitivity is so important to weight regulation. And what I came across is seeing how all these food industries, fast foods, pastries, sweets, etc., do this evil thing of putting such cruel combinations of nutrients together. For example, mixing saturated fat like cream with simple carbs that couldn't have more refined nature to them. Cheesecake, I'm looking at you, for the purpose of getting people addicted and getting them to come back for more, purely for their own income and money. I'm sorry, but that's friggin' ridiculous, actually thinking about it. No wonder we have epidemics of obesity and diabetes within the current society. Us humans are just constantly getting exposed to ridiculous supernormal stimuli with regards to food. Some things that would have been impossible to obtain down our evolutionary history. And we have this food culture which actually validates people enjoying such foods on a daily basis. I mean, I get it, food is nice and it's good to reward ourselves time to time, but objectively, these things are detrimental to our health. They friggin' ban medication, like this medication and that one, yet not a single bad look is given to those that indulge themselves into processed foods every meal. And then they don't have the audacity to provide anywhere near the required attention nor funding to help those with EDs, FML. I've always told people that if I do have an addiction, then it is to starchy, fatty foods. Sweet or salty, it doesn't really matter much. I love the combination of simple carbs and fat. I feel better when I don't eat that stuff. I lose weight, I'm able to acknowledge my body's fullness cues. But every once in a while, a craving overtakes me. I'm like a medication user. I'll keep using the medication until the medication's all gone. Honestly, every industry is trying to use human nature to get you to buy their stuff. Slot games are designed with sparkly graphics and exciting sounds and allow you to win just enough to keep playing, though you will lose money. Human psychology and biology are focal topics in any industry that wants to sell you something. Now, I totally agree that food science is particularly insidious, and I'm not sure if there's any clear solution. Companies aren't going to make their food taste worse just to make it a bit more nutritious. I think it's up to schools and doctors to really educate people on good nutrition from an early age. My husband is on a low sodium diet, ordered by his doctor. Sodium is what fat was 40 years ago, and sugar was 30 years ago. We're so used to food with intense refined flavors that foods with moderate amounts of sugar, fat, and salt taste unpalatable. Another thing that gets me is how abundant food is in the US compared to our ancestors 10,000 years ago. Of course, our bodies pushed us to crave fat, sugar, and salt because we'd probably only obtain these foods in small amounts, so our bodies crave the calorie density. Now, a package of macaroni and cheese and a pint of premium ice cream, you can get it for $5, and it has 5,000 calories. You could eat it all and still be hungry 6 hours later. We've become so good at obtaining calorie-dense foods that we're making ourselves sick. I love all kinds of cheesecake, except the spongy Japanese cheesecake. I know it's not good for me, but it makes me happy, and I can afford enough calories to eat it once in a while. Cheesecake and chocolate cake are my top two cakes. Food is a utility. It gives us the resources and energy we need to be healthy and active. Certain foods are better at assisting in brain function, others in bulking muscle, and some for making you feel full for few calories, so you can lose unhealthy body fat. And some food sometimes is for our mental health. If a savory donut at the end of the work week can motivate you to keep chugging along, and that first bite melts away your stress, it's healthy. Like all things, we just need to balance taking care of our physical health with our emotional. You can't abstain from one entirely without hurting the other. Even worse is the fact that these foods are so much cheaper than healthy alternatives. It's terrible that some people can't afford to eat better. My mom is a registered dietitian, so I grew up eating incredibly healthy, and she helped me with groceries when I was in school. I'm currently in the AmeriCorps, where I make below minimum wage, and making healthy choices is incredibly difficult. This is quite a stretch. Cheesecake was not created or invented for the sole purpose of getting you addicted to it. It's been tweaked and modified since then with those goals, but you're really taking a point and bending it to its limit. The real problem is that humans got lazy and wanted things more convenient. Then with two-income households, people needed convenience. Nobody wanted to or had the time to cook 3 from-scratch meals every single day. Enter processed and fast food. Add to that we no longer use special foods for special occasions. Giving everyone access to everything has stripped all meaning from food. Some meals used to take multiple days to prepare, and now those items are available 24/7. My dad was in the military in the 1950s, when experts started saying that margarine was a much healthier alternative to butter. He'd grown up on a farm and he knew it was BS, but the industry went nuts with trans fat being better than dairy. I think some of my biggest complaints are things like fat-free half and half. I love my morning cup of coffee, but I can't take it with just milk or the nut milk options, and I can't drink it black. I was told the fat in half and half is something I need to avoid, but that low fat is acceptable once a day. I miss my half and half and found that the low fat one from Land O'Lakes was great, and it was approved in my dietary plan. But suddenly it's gone, and the stores are all pushing more brands of fat-free creamers instead. They're touting them as being a great substitute for people on a diet. But as my dietitian said, every fat-free coffee creamer out there adds something like corn syrup solids, and people don't always read the labels. I don't think that they should be banned, but I do think that people need to be more educated about food. To be fair, it does say the nutrition facts on the label, but I agree with you in general. It is also why I hate obese people promoting intuitive eating, is saying their ancestors didn't count calories. Your ancestors also didn't have a milkshake after a double Big Mac and large fries and soda. You can't intuitive eat modern food because it's not intuitive to our bodies. It works great with meat, eggs, veggies, etc., but not rich carbs. I feel like a lot of people developing these products probably aren't trying to be malicious or manipulative. Like they probably just want to create foods that taste good and encourage their customers to want more. It's just that they think of happiness and taste instead of nutrition density and health. And certainly, most processed foods eaten in moderation as part of a generally healthy, calorie-appropriate diet can be fine. But we have an overabundance of unhealthy foods and consumers enjoy these products. I know when I cook, health isn't always in the forefront of my mind either. Like, if I make a chocolate chip cookie, that is a fatty, carby food that I'm making because it tastes good. The meal I plan tonight has protein and leafy vegetables, but I've also prepared an irredeemably high-fat, low-nutrition Caesar salad dressing that exists exclusively to add good flavor. I live in the USA, and I'm allergic to corn. I've shifted to a diet with extremely minimal food processing in what I buy. I'm allergic to most of the rest of it, and while it won't kill me, it's even worse for my health due to the allergy. It was a really difficult shift at first, but over time, I've gotten used to it and found lots of ways to make it much less work. Bulk cooking and saving portions for later is a big part of that. I also switched all my daily grains to whole grains and cut out all daily added sugars. I still have such things now and then, generally socially or on special occasions, but not regularly. It turns out, when you're making everything yourself, that is actually really easy to do. I do have to be careful to get enough salt though, as non-processed foods don't come with as much salt or iodine by default. It also does have some loss of flavor as almost all condiments have corn in them in the US. I have tried using ground mustard powder, but I just can't replicate mustard. I'd like to be able to use some things like garlic ginger paste. If you aren't allergic, some exceptions here or there would make a lot of sense. But if this is really bothering you, I'm here to say you don't have to eat that way. And it's actually not as much work as it seems to make things from less processed ingredients once you get used to them. Although I do very much like my pressure cooker, and I bought an air fryer attachment for it, and they are both quite useful. I think the really big surprise for me though was how little effort is required to bake up a loaf of whole wheat bread. It does take about 2.5 hours, but most of that is time spent waiting around. And that brings us to the end of the video, Narwhals. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please tap subscribe to join our awesome community, the Narwhals, and for more weight loss stories that help you stay on track. And here's our featured Narwhal of the day. 310 pounds to 188. My chest is gone, but I'm still happier.